Well, here's one more 118 Capra video tonight. And one of the things I was told by one of my friends, Thomas, and some other people online, uh, these shocks on the 118 Capra have bump stops, and they fit down there at the bottom of the shock and actually limit the travel, the up travel. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, it'll sit lower when you take them out." Well, that's not true because the spring doesn't allow it to go that low. So you're not going to let this thing ride any lower by cutting the bump stop off because the spring takes over. What it will do is allow you some more travel and just more up travel. It's probably a quarter of an inch there. And I think that's significant because a quarter of an inch in here is equal to much more than that out here because it's further in on the lever. So farther out on the lever you get, the more you're going to get out of it. Having said that, I am going to keep this bump stop here in place. I might take the other three out, and I'm not going to cut them. That's one of the things that everybody says, oh, cut out the bump stops. Well, okay, if you cut it out, you've ruined it, and you can never take it back or use that for anything else. So I'm going to do it the right way and just disassemble the shock, and you only have to take the bottom end of it off, and it's not a big deal. And I'll just slide them off, put them in a Ziploc bag, and store them. The reason I'm keeping this one here is because when you start climbing steeply, you're going to eventually want to get enough power and weight behind these things. It's going to torque twist. Now, the drive shaft, you can't really see it in there, when viewed from the back, rotates clockwise, which is going to cause a equal and opposite reaction torque roll. Well, if you keep this bump stop here, it's going to limit torque roll to right there, and it basically won't lean as far, and you're not going to give up that much travel by keeping one of them. And if I decide I want more, I'll put more of them back on. But really, all you need is one wheel height worth of travel anyway. More than that makes the truck kind of messy. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them off just to do something different with it. I don't know how it would hurt, except for right here. I think it needs this one just to limit the amount of torque roll. And that will become more evident once you start doing steep climbs, once this thing has the capability to do steep climbs. I still want it lowered. I still want my shocks mounted up here rather than down here. This needs to be up, and it would take this whole thing down. I was looking at how the front is built, and this piece here that the shock actually mounts to is fairly extensive, and it has this bar that goes forward and some other stuff in there. So it's a pretty good piece, and whoever designs one to replace this, they whatever they ask for it, somebody's gonna say, oh, it's too much money for a piece of plastic. Well, it might be, but that piece of plastic took a lot of time to engineer and get right. So because I'm the one that asked for it, I'll pay for it. I'll gladly pay for it to have a truck that sits down here where it should rather than clear up here in the air. It's just too high. So I guess that's all for tonight. I'm going to remove both bump stops in the front and the right rear and just give it a little bit more travel, and I'll put it in the Ziploc here and store those in case I want them back.